Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Gionee Websonic. I'm Nikhil Chinapa and we're sitting around with Disha and Abhishruti trying to figure out what we're going to do with this week's episode. And we just came across this really great article on one of my favorite blogs called Dancing Astronaut. They've listed out some of the most definitive and groundbreaking moments of 2016 in the dance music industry. And the list of artists that they've put together is pretty spectacular. Artists like Skrillex, Bob Moses, Tycho, Claude Von Stroke, Grizz, Pretty Lights, Boys Noise, Eric Prydz, Carl Cox, Porter Robinson and Madian. We're going to be talking about some of these artists in greater detail next on this episode of Gionee Websonic. Are we there? Yes, we're rolling. Okay, so right on top of that list from Dancing Astro is a guy called Skrillex who had a pretty spectacular 2016. By the way, he came and played for us for the first time in India in 2015 for VH1 Supersonic Arcade, and last year he played in China for the first time at Storm Festival and it was epic. Also last year, Skrillex featured in a Boiler Room set for the very first time and broke a whole bunch of records, including the most number of people to ever watch Boiler Room live. 1.4 million people watched it online. I wasn't one of those people because, surprisingly, I happened to be in the room in Shanghai when Skrillex was doing his Boiler Room set live and I recorded this video. Take a look. That was a video that I recorded of Skrillex playing live in Boiler Room at Shanghai. Achievement unlocked. Now, moving on to another artist on that list of Dancing Astronaut. It's an artist called Carl Cox. 2016 has been a bit of a bittersweet year for Carl Cox because he's closed his 17-year-long residency at a club called Space in Ibiza. Also, he's going to be shutting down his 16-year-old radio show next month, February 2017. So if you've been a fan of Carl Cox, make sure that you catch his last radio broadcast because that's going to be happening next month, like I said, February 2017. But it's not all doom and gloom for Carl Cox fans. If you're an Australian, Carl Cox announced his first techno festival in Australia. It's called Pure, and the second edition is set for April this year. And this year, along with Melbourne and Sydney, they're also adding Perth to the cities that they're going to be performing in. Joining Carl Cox on stage will be Adam Beyer and Eric, wait for it, not Prydz, Powell. So if you're in Australia, make sure that you catch those festivals Pure in April with Carl Cox headlining. Like I said, if you're interested in those Carl Cox festival dates, Adam Beyer will also be joining Carl Cox on stage. And that brings me to one of my favorite sets of last year. Now, Adam Beyer is a standard fixture at all Awakenings festivals. And when I went to Awakenings last year in June in Amsterdam, I heard a DJ called Joris Voon twice at Awakenings and then once again at ADE. And every single set of Joris's was spectacularly beautiful and very, very different. And guess what? Joris is coming back to headline the Awakening stage this year at VH1 Supersonic in Pune. Also on Dancing Astronaut's list of 10 artists that had a spectacular 2016 are Madian and Porter Robinson. Now the two of them are very good friends. They've been producing incredible music individually, but last year they put out a song called Shelter that absolutely blew everyone away. In fact, my own radio show, I lost count of the number of times I featured Shelter on that show. Now off the back of that song, Madian and Porter Robinson also put together a live show calling it Shelter, and they've been touring with it across the world, but sadly they're not going to be a part of Supersonic. But if you're anywhere in the world and you have the chance to check out Shelter live, you should. That was Madian and Porter Robinson with their Shelter live show. And speaking of live, we're constantly breaking new ground at VH1 Supersonic, and for the first time ever, we're adding a full-blown live stage. And headlining that live stage for their very first performance in India is Macklemore. What? Now, I know a few of you were confused about what Macklemore is going to be doing at VH1 Supersonic, whether he's doing a DJ set, whether it's going to be a hybrid live. It's not. He's coming down with a band, he's coming down with a crew, and it's going to be full-blown live. American hip-hop legend and superstar Macklemore at VH1 Supersonic in Pune. I don't know about you, but I am properly excited for Macklemore's performance at VH1 Supersonic. I think it's gonna kick ass on day 2 of the festival. And by the way, for those of you who don't know who Macklemore is, here's a fan video that was put together by some friends of Supersonic, and I think it's pretty hilarious.
What? I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome. Now,
taking a giant leap sideways from hip-hop, trance is making a comeback into VH1 Supersonic this year. Last year, we didn't have too many trance artists playing, but this year, we've got a stage that's headlined by Ali and Fila, and also supporting on that stage are Protoculture and Sunny Lax and Gionee going back-to-back, playing their first ever set in India. That trance stage is going to be rammed at VH1 Supersonic, and if that's your sound, make sure you're there. So last week for Throwback Thursday, I tweeted a picture which was actually a clue about who was going to be headlining our third day at VH1 Supersonic, and that was a picture of me and Zedd from Tomorrowland in 2012 when I was showing him pictures and videos of what the Indian dance music scene looked like. Now Zedd's been one of my favorite artists for a long time, and I love playing his music on the radio as well, and he's had a pretty spectacular start to the year this year in 2017. He's just put out his remix of Snake and Bieber's track, Let Me Love You, and the production on that track has blown us all away. It just sounds so refreshingly different, but it's also so completely Zedd. Now, one of my favorite videos of Zedd is actually not of him DJing. It's a drum cover of him playing the drums to his own song Spectrum. Take a look at this and be prepared to have your head blown off. That was Zedd doing his drum cover of his own song Spectrum, and the first time I watched that video, it just lost for words. You know the feeling? You watch that guy and you realize how talented he is as a musician, and I can't wait for him to perform at VH1 Supersonic this year. He's headlining day 3, he's going to be closing the festival, and it is going to be banging. And I'm going to leave you now at the end of this episode of Gionee Websonic with one reason why you should come to VH1 Supersonic this year, and that reason is this coffee is damn good, and so will the coffee at the festival be. Oh, forgot to tell you about the contest, by the way. We're giving away 2 passes to VH1 Supersonic this year. All that you need to do is send us a video of you playing air drums, like pretend drums, the way Zedd was playing real drums, and send it to this address. I have to go now. My coffee's getting cold. I'll see you soon. Bye.